Well, Eric Mangini spent years and years with Tom Brady, who announced on the beach he is retiring. I hope he takes some time to himself. He's such an intense guy. I always see when people retire, they always jump back into stuff. And I'm like, dude, been a rough year, family, take some time, take a deep breath. So when you saw the early Tom, the aging Tom, the star Tom, I said earlier, obviously he got richer and more famous, but he was still always sort of driven, values, intensity. Like, I don't think he changed that much. Hell, he still looks like he's 29 years old. He even all the success, I still feel like I know kind of what Tom's about. Your thoughts on that?
When I talk to my kids about Tom Brady, the thing that to me that makes him great is no matter how much fame he had, how much success he had, how much money he had, he worked the same way every day, and that's really hard to do. And the young guy that came in New England as a 6th-round draft pick that wasn't very good that first year at all when he was sitting and watching and struggling after practice in our one-on-ones against the DBs. He just consistently worked at it and took the same approach. And then when he had success, he did the same thing. And he treated people extremely well. He was kind to everybody. He embraced people that came in the locker room. It's such a rare combination to have that much success and that much humility. And it's something, I hope for my kids that they can strive for those type of traits.
It's going to send a ripple through the market. My first thought is Kyle Shanahan went bummer and Derek Carr went show me the money, because here's the other thing. So let's say you ran the Packers and in the last 72 hours, the Niners are a massive question mark at quarterback. Tom Brady retires. In Philadelphia, if they win the Super Bowl, everybody's going to want to get paid. And I thought this morning, is Green Bay saying, we're going to sleep on this Aaron Rodgers to the Titans or Jets thing. It does. What Tom retiring, if I'm in the NFC, it does make me pause for a second, doesn't it, Eric?
Well, look, if I'm the Packers, I wouldn't be thinking about getting rid of Aaron Rodgers at all, regardless of how frustrating he's been or any of the problems he may have created. And I know J-Mac was just talking about not wanting him at the Jets, but you've got Zach Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, no, it's really fun. Winning is a lot of fun, and when you could upgrade your quarterback situation that dramatically, they should back up the vault or whatever they need to do to get him, because the Jets aren't that far away. But if you're Green Bay, yeah, he may be difficult to deal with, but life without an MVP caliber quarterback, that's really hard. That's really hard. And they may learn that pretty quickly if they move on from him, and Jordan Love's not the guy they hope he is.
Kansas City, Alex, Andy Reid took the Chiefs from 2 wins to 11 one year. Sean McVay, 4-11 with Goff 1 year. Doug Peterson, worst team in the league to playoffs 1 year. Brian Daboll, joke to a playoff win in 1 year. Is that if you get the right coach, you can solve stuff, especially in 2023, an offensive coach, you can solve stuff pretty quickly. I think Sean's going to make Denver better, because I went this morning to the depth chart and PFF. They've got a lot of good players. This is not like the Texans. What to you is a reasonable idea, a reasonable prediction next year? What from 5 wins to what is reasonable in your opinion?
Well, it depends, Colin. They obviously made a huge upgrade in terms of experience and credibility and all those things with bringing Sean in. And now it's a function of also getting Russell Wilson back in line. And I think Russell Wilson came in and he ran things organizationally. And now with Sean there, that dynamic is going to change back to head coach, then quarterback. And that could be a really positive thing for Russell. It's going to be interesting to see how the systems fuse together, because Sean's traditionally done a lot of shifting and motioning and multiple formations and no huddle and significant game planning, where Russell Wilson's been more on the stationary side from a offensive perspective. So do you cater it for Russell Wilson, or do you create some sort of fusion, or do you adapt Sean's system? That's going to be something that they have to work through. It's not a lot of draft capital. They're not in bad shape from a salary cap perspective, but you wish there was a little more from a draft perspective so they could get better quicker.
Yeah.
3 games improvement I don't think is unreasonable with adding a head coach like Sean Payton.
The Super Bowl matchup is interesting. We were talking about this. The better team in terms of roster is Philadelphia. They just have more elite players. And then, obviously, the better quarterback is Mahomes. Go back to your early Brady Super Bowls, because Jalen Hurts, there's a big difference between playing at home and playing the Giants and playing the Niners without Brock Purdy and playing Mahomes. And Patrick, this is another day at the office. Jalen, this is a big moment. I think Mahomes actually can put pressure on you because you're on the same telecast and the same comparison. Take Tom's early Super Bowls when he was young like Hurts. Was he nervous? Did it change the game plan? Did you come out a little slower? Did you consider his lack of experience in that stage?
Well, remember, Colin, we only had 3 offensive touchdowns in our first Super Bowl run, and Drew Bledsoe threw one of those in the AFC Championship game when Tom got dinged up. So we weren't looking at it from the perspective of Tom had to win the game for us. And Jalen, to me, has a really great perspective on things. He has a great perspective on the success he's had. He's got a great perspective on where the team was throughout the course of the season and not looking too far ahead. He seems grounded, and that's the most important thing for me is that he doesn't get too much put on his shoulders, and he doesn't feel the weight of the world on his shoulders, because that's where he'll get in trouble. I do think he needs to play better than he did last game.
Yeah.
They need to find a way to exploit the young secondary of the Chiefs, and on those quarterback-driven runs, he needs to be better as a runner where he's really been strong. But he doesn't need to win the game on his own. They're collectively a really good team, and let the game unfold, and they'll be fine.
Would you coach differently if you felt like, guys, our units, our depth is better?
We always looked at it from the perspective of how can the other team hurt us, and we were going to make sure that we eliminated the ways that they could hurt us. And Bill Belichick is one of the best at identifying those things and making sure we were always hyper aware of it. It wasn't about coaching a different way. It was just making sure that everybody understood what we had to do to achieve our objectives, and they were very clearly outlined. And we didn't expect people to go outside of that plan. We just expected people to hold up their end of the bargain within that plan.
Finally, do you have a favorite Tom Brady moment, story, experience, practice? I know I'm kind of catching you off guard here, but when you think of Brady, are there a couple of moments that kind of a good laugh with Tom? Was he a good sport when people make fun of him? When you think of Tom, what do you think of?
Look, there's the football moments. It's that drive at the end of the first Super Bowl, which was incredible when John Madden said we should probably take a knee and play for overtime. There was the 3rd and 3 play against Carolina where he throws a 15-yard out to Deion Branch to set up the field goal for Vinatieri at the end of that game. I mean, those moments were incredible. But working with Tom, and we used to have rookie classes that I ran with Brian Daboll, and Tom having to come into those classes, and just him as a young guy, a 6th-round draft pick, trying to figure it out. We had 3 other quarterbacks on the roster. Drew Bledsoe had just gotten a $100 million contract extension. And in retrospect, I appreciate his work ethic. And there were a lot of things working against him, especially that first year, for him to even stay on the roster. But his character, we used to run on the treadmill next to each other. Believe it or not, I ran on the treadmill. And we'd always, be able to spend some time there just talking about, could be a range of things. Because, look, I was a young guy at the time in New England, and he was a young guy too, so there were a lot of relatable moments at that point.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.